John Humphrys, the recent long-time host of Radio 4's Today programme, bemoaned the fact that young'uns these days no longer respect their elders in the Telegraph over the weekend. I think he may have a point. Most healthy societies tend to look to the oldies for some wisdom. But Cara Kennedy from the Spectator World, and I suspect a lot of other millennials and Zoomers, I don't even know what this means, by the way, people, if that helps you out, had a few issues with what Mr Humphrys had to say. What exactly do the old have to teach the young about the world today, after all? How much blame do they have for the fact that it's no longer possible to raise a family on one wage, or that they let house prices rise so much higher than wages, that a whole generation is now priced out of the housing market, that they sit on triple-locked pensions while the tax burden on the working age is at an all-time high? What exactly are the long-term consequences of this short-sightedness for the country? Well, Cara joins me right now. Thank you very much, Cara. Can I just say, somebody else wrote that little bit of the auto cue, all right? I actually think that we should be loving our elders a lot more than we currently are. It's not their fault that everything is absolutely naff. You know what? Maybe we should get off our backside, people our age, and put the shoulders to the wheel, do a bit of graft, and end up earning the money yourselves, go and buy a house.
Hi, Patrick.
Hello.
I should start off by saying that, of course, we want to have a baseline level of respect for everybody. That wasn't my issue with the piece. Of course, we should respect our elders. What I am sick of is the narrative that my generation is spoiled, self-entitled brats for having anything to say about the fact that this country has nothing to offer us anymore. I mean, it's become clear that anybody under the age of 40 is seen as totally disposable and unneeded. The government has made that absolutely clear, that they can get along without our vote. Well, I mean, good luck to them.
OK, do you honestly feel that this country has absolutely nothing to offer anymore? I mean, you're on the telly now.
No, I think it's totally true. I mean, the age-old saying, if you're not a liberal when you're young, you have no heart. If you're not a conservative when old, then you have no brain. That simply isn't true anymore. Conservative values in this country are dead. Like you said, raising a family on one wage is inherently conservative. So is home ownership, pound, family life. And the worst part is that we don't have any of this, but we're being told to count ourselves lucky and branded as brats for wanting more than what we have now.
Do you think there is any truth to the fact that, you know, if I went outside of this studio right now, I'm probably within 5 feet of a rooftop bar where there'll be someone who is up to their eyeballs in student debt, drinking their weight in porn star martinis and smearing avocado on toast or something like that? Is there any legitimacy to the idea that young people just aren't as thrifty as the older generation were?
I just don't think that's simply true at all. And it's because of the level of increase. I mean, if we're talking a 10% rise in prices since my parents bought a house, then yeah, maybe it would be thriftiness could get us through. But it is just untenable, the fact that anybody in a decent wage in this country. I mean, can I just say, when it comes down to it, we get paid less, we pay more tax, we work a longer portion of our life. That's if we can ever retire. And for what? I mean, we'll never own a home, we'll never have a family, because nobody wants to have a baby living in a mouldy house with criminal childcare costs. We're presented as selfish hedonists that spend all their money on Netflix and avocado on toast. But in reality, we're in a chokehold of our government's own doing, by lack of planning reform, essentially. I don't think people are asking for much. I mean, I'd go as far in saying that housing should be a right.
OK, now that's interesting. But when it comes to housing, in a lot of cultures, the elderly will move in with the younger generation, and that younger generation will look after the elderly in their old age, both securing good traditional family values and, crucially, home ownership. But we don't really want to do that, a lot of people in this country, do we? And I think maybe that's a bit wrong.
Well, we're meant to do it. I mean, you find me a house big enough to put 2 generations in.
The old person's house, probably.
Really affordable.
Move into the older person's house. Wait for them to grow old in that house, move in with them, and then bingo, you've got a house and family.
Okay, I think that's called maybe taking advantage. I don't know. But no, you're right. There is resentment growing between my generation and particularly boomers. But it all stems down to housing. I mean, people my age are paying 60% or more of their wages every month on one room. That is not something that can be quick fixed by being a bit more thrifty.
For what it's worth,
that's not a house; it's a room.
Yeah. Look, for what it's worth, I mean, I'm being a little bit provocative here. I do agree with a lot of what you have to say, because I think one of the big concerns for me anyway is that we've stopped dangling the carrot for people, right? You've got to give them something, at least show them something that they think they can aspire to and then obtain one day. And I am concerned that at the minute, for a lot of younger people, they just think that so much is completely unobtainable. And therefore, maybe they either get incredibly resentful or, even worse, they stop trying. And that's my real concern, that there will be a generation of people who come through who just don't bother to try to kick on in life because they think it's impossible. And that, young or old, people have to acknowledge that is bad.
No, you're completely right. I mean, what's the point if you're in this bleak, horrendous place right now where you think, well, what's the point in anything? And you always hear the rebuttal of, oh, well, just move outside of London. It's better in the north. It's better in Wales. It's better in Scotland. I'm currently in the South Wales Valleys, where I'm from, and everybody I know is paying a fortune for everything, and inflation isn't rising.
No.
I mean, pay rises aren't going as fast as inflation right now, but pensions are, and this is where the resentment is stemming from.
Well, I must say, I am a fan of the Green Belt in the sense of the fact that I think, like most people, they don't want to see some carbuncle built on what was a beautiful, picturesque landscape. However, I look at wind farms now and I think, well, that attitude's dead, isn't it? Clearly that's all right. We can sacrifice the countryside for the sake of a bit of wind, which they're just giant bird killers at the end of the day anyway, aren't they? But anyway, I am getting increasingly annoyed by NIMBYs saying, oh, you can't possibly build that estate in my backyard. Actually, I am sorry, but that is an area where you do need to compromise. Yes, the architecture needs to be all right. It shouldn't just be a massive eyesore. But seriously, we have to start building houses either up or outside of London, I mean.
No, I completely agree. And then this is another point of resentment is NIMBYism. And it's because the boomer generation especially bought loads of houses all over the country. And then as soon as there's a planning application for a block of flats, they say, oh, well, I actually quite like my view of Waitrose over there, so I'm going to object to it. And then they complain about the fact that they might not be making enough money from pensions and stuff like that. And it's because none of us can afford a house. Because
just very quickly, do the people who survived the war not deserve a little bit of leeway?
Of course they do. I don't think that's the point. I think the point is the fact that we shouldn't be down on our knees begging for giving props to everybody when we're in a crappy situation ourselves.
Fair enough. All right, Cara, thank you very much.